you're into funk or you love the music of James Brown or Prince, you'll have heard the saxophone of Maceo Parker. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to his music, his career, and point you to some tracks that you can go and listen to yourself. Plus, we're going to take a look at an iconic Maceo Parker solo, Pass the Peas, and I've got a transcription of the solo for you too. This month in Sax School is all about funk, and we're learning an original challenge song called The Turkey that's in the style of Maceo Parker. Maceo Parker has worked with a stellar lineup of musicians, from legendary figures from the 1950s like James Brown, to the psychedelic Bootsy Collins and George Clinton, to stars of the 1900s and 2000s such as Prince, and even the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Perhaps the most common factor is these are artists who are doing something new and breaking new ground. Parker is right up there, a saxophone innovator in his own right. But in many ways, Maceo Parker goes against the image we might have of a funk soul saxman. At an early age, he decided not to drink or smoke. He saw other musicians having a crazy lifestyle, and he decided that wasn't for him. Maybe that's why at the age of 78, he's still recording. So let's take a closer look at Maceo Parker's life and career. Maceo was born on 4th of February 1943 in Kinston, North Carolina in the United States. Music was a big part of his life growing up. Parker's brother, Kellis, played trombone, and his other brother, Melvin, played drums. In fact, when Parker joined James Brown's band in 1964, it was alongside Melvin, and it's even been said that it was actually Melvin that James Brown wanted, and he took Maceo Parker as part of the deal. Either way, Maceo Parker recognises that playing with James Brown helped launch his saxophone career. In fact, he said in an interview, "If I was a diver, it was my springboard." He played with James Brown on and off right up until the late 90s, interspersed with collaborations with Bootsy Collins, Fred Wesley, Candy Dulfer, and with George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic. Where the years with James Brown had been pretty strict, with no swearing allowed and a strict dress code, the Parliament Funkadelic was a rotating collective of musicians influenced by psychedelia, science fiction, and crazy fashions. It must have been quite a culture shock. Then, in 1990, Parker began a successful solo career, recording 11 solo albums to date, the last one in 2020 called Soul Food Cooking with Maceo. In the late 1990s, he started working with Prince, a collaboration which continued throughout the 90s and into the 2000s, with both touring and recording. Unlike a lot of saxophone players, Maceo Parker's biggest influence doesn't play sax. In the 1950s, when Parker was growing up, Ray Charles was already a huge figure in the emerging rhythm and blues music scene. He said about Ray Charles, "I got into Ray Charles at a very early age. I'd listen to him sing, and I'd try to equate that with playing the saxophone. He was always the cat for me." If you want to get a feel for Maceo Parker's music, his tribute to Ray Charles's Roots and Grooves is the great place to start. These were the tracks that influenced the Maceo Parker style, plus this is a great chance to hear an outstanding big band. Another great album to check out is Funk Overload. This album from 1998 is his bestseller. It's different in style with way more funk, as the title suggests. Uptown Up, which is track 2 on the album, is one of his best songs. You can clearly hear the James Brown influences, and it undoubtedly influenced many modern funk sax players. In this track, you'll hear Parker's powerful funk style and amazing soloing. Another track to explore is Children's World from the album Roots Revisited. It has a more laid-back feel and a little bit more jazz than the others, but it still has that clear soul and attacking Maceo Parker style. Probably the most recognised Maceo Parker track is Pass the Peas. It's an iconic melody that's been covered by everyone in any kind of soul band. If you listen to soul, you'll have heard this one. It features a bunch of great solos from different people. Now we're going to take a look at Pass the Peas in more detail. But before we do, I'd love to know, do you have a favourite Maceo Parker track? Have you picked out his playing on a Prince album? Or do you prefer his work with James Brown? Let me know in a comment. Pass the Peas is like a soul standard. If you want to understand what funk is all about, listen to this track. Plus, it's got all the Maceo Parker style cues. It's unique, it's contemporary, and you can really hear the vocal influence in Parker's playing. He plays sax like a soul singer. So let's dig into this solo from Pass the Peas. Now, this version is based on a live recording, and rather than looking at the whole solo, we're just going to focus on 8 bars. So let me play it for you first. Okay, I love those 8 bars from this Maceo Parker transcription. It's such a great example of Maceo's sound, and I think if you want to understand how to get that classic Maceo Parker style, there are 3 main things that you need to be thinking about. So the first one is articulation. If you take a look at this sheet music, you can see that a lot of the articulation is really short, sharp, aggressive kind of sound, and that's the kind of sound that Maceo is getting when he's performing. We've marked this with accents and staccato notes, and when you play it with that attack and aggression, you'll get that Maceo Parker sound. The second thing to think about with Maceo's playing is his rhythm. Now, Maceo uses a lot of 16th notes or semiquavers, and it's a classic staple of funk music. If you take a look at the third bar on beat 4, you can see that we have semiquaver or 16th note rests and notes on the second and fourth semiquavers. It looks really complicated, but when you listen to the music, it's a really classic, important part of Maceo's playing. So remember, you can get the PDF in a link below this video. Now, when you're looking through this PDF, it's really important to focus on the precision and accuracy of these rhythms. And when you do that, you'll get that classic Maceo Parker sound. The third thing to think about is the energy that you're using when you play. If you listen to Maceo's playing, the energy is in every single note and line in the whole of the transcription. Now, the way that we go about doing this is thinking about our breathing and our air support, but also the attitude we're using when we're approaching that playing. And if you combine that with the rhythm and the articulation, you'll get that powerful Maceo style. There's loads to learn from this solo, and if you want to really dig deep, we've got loads of other lessons and courses on Maceo inside Sax School. You can get started by getting the transcription from our blog. The link's just below here in the description. Listening to players like Maceo Parker and hearing different styles is a great way to develop your own saxophone playing. I hope this has helped you, and I really hope you check out some of the recordings we've talked about today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, and if you really want to move ahead with your saxophone playing, why not check out Sax School? We've got a huge library of lessons and courses, plus tutor support and our worldwide community of saxophone learners too. And while you're here, check out the other videos on our channel. That's it for today. I'll catch you next time.